This week, we are exploring the enigmatic world of Raelism, a UFO religion founded in the 1970s by former French race car driver Claude Vorihon, also known as Rael. Advocating for a belief system rooted in extraterrestrial encounters, cloning technology, and a vision of humanity's future guided by advanced beings from another planet, Raelism has garnered both fascination and skepticism. Join us as we unravel the beliefs and controversies of this unique religious movement that continues to provoke curiosity and debate worldwide. I'm Sammy.
And I'm Nicole,
and we are Spooky Sleuths.
Hey guys,
Hello.
welcome back to Spooky Sleuths.
This week we are getting a little bit culty again, and this is kind of a big culty. This is a big culty cult.
I'm so skeptical when people start screaming UFOs. Like, I'm not naive. I don't think we're the only things,
right.
but I'm excited for the extremity.
I believe in the UFOs. I don't believe in this cult. But it all starts with one man, Claude Vorihon, who is better known to his followers as Rael. Rael was born in France in 1946 out of wedlock.
Oh.
Having a child out of wedlock was still considered a big no-no. So I'm sure it's not a surprise to learn that his father abandoned him. Rael didn't have a traumatic childhood. He was raised by his mother and maternal grandmother. As far as I can tell, the biggest controversy from his childhood was that his mother and grandmother were atheists while his father was allegedly Jewish. There's not a lot known, but it's believed he was Jewish, which can cause some tension if you're an Orthodox Jew, per se. I don't think you're allowed to be with women outside of the faith.
Let alone outside of wedlock.
Right. Given all this, it's kind of surprising that he attended a Catholic boarding school. He was even baptized as a Catholic.
That doesn't make a lot of sense.
No. But he did drop out of high school and decided to move away from his hometown of Ambert to the big old city of Paris.
Oh, snap.
He actually ran away from his boarding school at the age of 15 to head to Paris. When Rael got to Paris, he decided he was going to be an entertainer. His stage name became Claude Cellar, like a wine cellar.
Yeah.
For 3 years, Rael was a street musician until he met a national radio program director, Lucien Morrissey.
That sounds fancy.
It does. Lucien was looking for a young talent and signed Rael to his label. Rael was actually a really popular teen pop star, with his hit single being, I don't know French, so.
Why do you always get these ones?
Le miel et la cannelle. Or in English, it's honey and cinnamon.
It did not sound as sweet when you were just attempting to say that.
His stardom wouldn't last long, though.
They never do for the teen artists.
No. Well, Lucien unalived himself.
Oh.
Very shortly after his single came out. So there was really no one producing him, I guess. Now, with no job and no promises of returning to singing, Rael decided to become a sports journalist. He dreamt of being a race car driver, and this was his opportunity to access the racing world. It was during his time as a journalist that Rael met his first wife, Marie-Paul Christini. Marie-Paul was a nurse, and the two were in love. The couple moved from Paris to Clermont-Ferrand, and Rael decided it was time to open up his own publishing house and begin publishing his sports car magazine, Autopop.
Oh.
This was finally his opportunity to drive race cars, as he got to test new ones as part of his work duties for Autopop. It wouldn't be until the late 1990s and 2000s, though, that Rael actually got to participate in a race. While living in Clermont-Ferrand in 1973, Rael took a walk through the mountains. During his walk, he claims that he met an alien.
I'm sure he did.
The alien that he met was 25,000 years old and was traveling in a spaceship that looked like a flattened bell. This alien told Rael that aliens called Elohim were the actual creators of human life. This wasn't Rael's only encounter with Elohim. He had several others over the years.
Naturally.
In 1975, Rael claims that Elohim took him to their home planet. Since it appeared that Rael was chosen, he was informed that his mission was to spread the word of the Elohim on Earth and prepare humanity for the aliens' return. Rael was chosen, of course, because a member of the Elohim named Yahweh was his biological father.
How original.
That was his father.
Okay.
Yahweh gave his son the name Rael at this point. This is where we start to see Raelism be a thing.
Naturally.
In 1974, Rael founded the movement to welcome the creators of humanity, or MATIC. This name only stuck until 1975, when the group's name was changed to Raelism, after Rael himself.
Naturally. I mean, that's what every cult leader wants.
This change was likely inspired by Rael's visit this year to the Elohim home planet. He was able to meet his half-brothers during this visit. Any guess on who his half-brothers were?
None.
Jesus.
Oh, of course.
Muhammad and Buddha. They supported his mission to spread the Elohim message. Some other people who were supposedly the Elohim's prophets on earth, as Rael was, were Moses, Elijah, Ezekiel, John the Baptist, and Joseph Smith.
The Mormon feller?
Yeah, I think that's who that is.
Yeah. Wow.
So, what were the beliefs of Raelism?
Oh, lay him on me. Lay him on me.
The first is that everything is in everything. This basically means that living things are contained inside of living things. Like the atoms in humans contain living things that contain atoms, and so on. But it's the opposite too. Like the earth is in an atom inside of a larger universe that's in an atom inside of a larger universe. So,
okay, but that really isn't that far-fetched.
It's not. But this plays into their belief that the universe is infinite with no center. They also believe that we as humans can create life on other planets only if we stop war. I think there's a couple other steps between there.
Probably.
But I don't know. I'm just trying to be realistic.
Oh my gosh!
Yeah.
All right, there you go.
The basis of Raelism is that aliens created humans, right? Well, the alien Yahweh told Rael that Earth was just basically an ocean until the Elohim aliens came to Earth.
Science says otherwise.
They apparently opened up the clouds to expose the ocean to sunlight. Then they built the continents and created the ecosystem. They supposedly used solar astronomy, terraformation, nanotechnology, and genetic engineering to create the thermal and chemical makeup of the Earth.
That makes sense.
That's like billions of years ago. I mean, probably not that long, but really long. I don't think they had that technology.
Probably not, but, you know, there are creators. It's hard to tell how long they've been around.
Oh. Well, we've all heard of the Garden of Eden, right?
Yes.
It turns out there was no garden, according to Raelism. The Garden of Eden that we know was actually a laboratory. Oh, and Noah's Ark was a spaceship.
Oh, okay.
So lastly, let's talk about the Raelians' belief about the afterlife. They don't believe in reincarnation, as the soul is free of physical confinement, and they don't believe in heaven or hell. They believe that the Elohim have supercomputers that record the memories and DNA of humans. According to the Raelians, Elohim will be back to Earth for a resurrection. During this, the data from the computer will be used to bring people back from the dead, those that are worthy.
So it's Do you just take the Bible and make it a science fiction film?
And everybody's Jesus.
Yeah.
This is crazy.
It is. However, it literally sounds like he took things that are written in the Bible, like the stories, and just replaced things with aliens.
Yeah.
It's not that creative, Rael.
He is not very realistic. I'm going to use that as many times as I can.
Okay.
Of course, as any cult does, Raelians have their own practices. I also love that they're called Raelians
Because,
and they
like,
believe in
aliens.
When new members join the group, they have to sign what is called an Act of Apostasy. This document has the members renounce their baptism in their former church. The document also gives the cult ownership of all the assets the member has.
Of course they do.
In addition, they sign a contract with a local mortician. The contract ensures that the frontal bone will be removed when they die. Now, Raelians believe that this is their third eye, and it is essential for them to be recreated by the Elohim. When this procedure is complete, the frontal bone is shipped to a bank vault in Switzerland and stored on ice. Once it's there, the member's genetic code is telepathically transmitted to the Elohim.
They paid for all this?
Yeah.
Oh my. Okay.
This is how they'll bring the member back from the dead during the resurrection. Another way the member's genetic code is transmitted to the Elohim happens while they're still alive. Rael will dip his hand in water and places it on the member's forehead. This act transfers their genetic code to the supercomputers. If a member is worthy, they will be used for cloning processes as well. This is Raelism's form of baptism, and they call it their baptism. All of this, though, is their primary ritual, which is called the transmission of the cellular plan. Now,
Quit trying to make it sound sciencey when it's not science. Oh gosh. Okay.
Now, members can't get baptized just whenever they want, any time of the year. There are 4 specific dates that Rael allows new members in. The first date is the first Sunday in April. According to Rael, that is the day that the Elohim created Adam and Eve. The next date is August 6th, and that is the anniversary of the atomic bombing of Hiroshima.
Is that why?
Yes.
Oh my.
The next date is October 7th, because that was Rael's first trip to Elohim's planet. And the final day that baptisms can occur is December 13th. The meaning behind this date is a little tricky to figure out. It was Rael's first CEIII, which I believe has something to do with transferring his genetic code. I really couldn't figure out what that was.
Those are very odd dates. Like, you've got your December date, then you have to wait till April.
Yeah.
Then you have to wait till August. And once you're in August, it's like, it's okay. We've got another one in 2 months.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like, it's
very weird.
Yeah. Like, you'd think you'd want it to be like quarterly.
Absolutely. Well, there's one other ritual that I want to talk about with these Raelians. They practice what they refer to as sensual meditation.
I knew it was going to get sexual.
Yeah. According to Rael, sensual meditation is a sensory awareness technique that is used to awaken psychic abilities and stimulate neural pathway growth. Members are instructed to do this meditation daily. Essentially, they turned sex into meditation that consists of 6 activities: harmonization with infinity, becoming aware of our life, body awareness, meditation with symbol of infinity, another universe, our partner, and eroticism and mutual excitement. Members had an instruction tape that they would use daily to create telepathic communication with the Elohim. They also did this to create a state of harmony with the universe. These instruction tapes are actually available to listen to online, and you can You can go to their website to join a live meditation. They do them, it looks like, every week
Wait,
or
this is
every
still
month.
active?
Yes, this is still an
Oh
active
my
cult.
gosh. So okay. All right.
Yep. Now let's talk about the rules members had to follow.
There's always rules.
Yep. Of course, as with most cults, they had to tithe 11% of their income to the group.
I've seen worse tithing.
Yes. The first 10% went toward constructing their embassy, which I'll talk about that in a minute. The remaining 1% went to Rael. He claims he makes no money from the group and that it's all from like television appearances and stuff, but he gets 1%. And I got that. I got a lot of this information from a former member, or they might still be a current member. The way they talked on the website seemed like they were still current. But
that's wild.
That website also states that there's no enforcement mechanism, but the members all signed a document giving Rael access to their bank account. So I disagree with that. I think that they can go and get that money. The next rule is no drugs, alcohol, caffeine, or cigarettes. I don't think we'll be surprised by this next rule, which is to pursue sexual pleasure with many partners of either sex. The group believes that the pleasure increases the individual's intelligence, so they are encouraged to get as much pleasure as they can handle.
As they can handle. What great terminology.
That might have been me. They do have a rule against SA and pedophilia, thankfully. Members are excommunicated if they do either of these. The group is very tolerant and values freedom of choice, so same-sex relationships are A-okay with this group, which I don't think is something a lot of other groups value.
No.
They also permit birth control, abortions, and sex change operations. The final rule members have to follow is about marriage. They do not believe in marriage and don't like kids. Motherhood, marriage, and children are not welcome in this cult. While they claim to excommunicate members who SA or are pedophiles, this has not been the case. The group is not child-friendly, as I mentioned, but they claim to not allow any children at all into the group. There are allegations of abuse, though. 2 men were actually tried for a case of SA of an 11-year-old. The child's mother was a member of Raelism and is reported not to have tried to stop it. Of course, I'm not placing blame on the mother. I'm just trying to show the hold that cult had on her for her not to react.
That makes sense.
I mentioned a minute ago that members donate 10% of their income to building an embassy.
Yes.
This embassy is for the return of the Elohim.
Oh, they've got to have somewhere to come back to.
This will be their 3rd temple. They don't have a country yet to build this embassy, but when they find one that will permit it, they will need to grant extraterritoriality and be protected by the Elohim. Raelians also believe that this country will have an economic boom for building this embassy. We'll put a picture up of their plans for the design of it. On their website, that's what it says, is that all they ask for you from your support is about 4 acres of land to build this embassy. I also want to stress how big this cult is. Today, they claim to have over 100,000 members worldwide. Rael has written multiple books. There are online classes, weekly live meditations, and even a manga written by the group. They have their own manga.
What? I want to read it.
Rael even went on tour for week-long lectures at one point. He hosted what he called Stages of Awakening in several countries across the world that had daily lectures, sensual meditation, fasting, feasting, and therapies. If you wanted to attend, though, you had to be completely nude. Apparently, the Elohim are nudists.
That makes sense.
Where are they going to buy clothes? Rael presented himself as a women's rights activist. He created the Order of Rael's Angels.
Is this like Charlie's Angels?
Yep. This was a group of women trained by Rael to pleasure the Elohim and the 49 prophets when they return to Earth. I'm sorry, when Jesus comes back, is he expecting everyone to pleasure him? I don't think so.
I don't think that's a thing.
Well, these women will be the only ones allowed in the embassy, acting as ambassadors between the Elohim and politicians and journalists.
Oh, that makes sense.
He also had Rael's Girls, which were a group of women who were sex workers. These women lobbied against restrictions on women's sexual activities. But all of this is just an appearance. The women who were chosen, he kept them as sex slaves. He marked them with a pink feather that meant they could only have sex with Rael. They were also not allowed to refuse them. They were also not allowed to refuse him. Women who lived in the communes in Canada and France, those were where the two sets were, they were forced to be nudists. I believe everyone was nudist on these communes, but only the women are forced to examine their anuses in a mirror.
What?
The commune leaders force women to touch their genitals and smell it. I don't understand what that's about.
For what purpose?
I have no clue. The Raelians, of course, deny any allegations of sexual abuse and sex slavery. They issued a statement stating Raelian women are all free to be self-determining in every way, including sexually, and they as individuals choose who they wish to have sex with, and they alone choose for themselves. Slavery of all kinds, whether it be sex slavery or any other form of slavery, is abhorrent to both the Raelians movement as an organization and to each individual Raelian, wherever they may be, as this is against our philosophy completely. Of course, they're going to deny it. I'm going to believe the women who have came out and spoke about it.
Yeah, of course, whoever wrote that statement is somebody that's in so deep. They have a, deep found love for Rael and everything, but not so deep they know what's actually going on.
Yeah.
It reminds me
they know what's going on and are just lying.
Right. It reminds me of Mark Vicente.
Yeah.
Before he, really found out, learned more about Keith Raniere and NXIVM. Like, how they were so, no, those are just lies. But then when they found out, they just...
Yeah. Of course, what would a cult be without a little controversy?
We love a good controversy. I think all of this has been controversial, but...
It has been. And I just keep thinking of Eminem. We all need a little controversy.
Yeah. This looks like a job for me, so everybody just follow me. I need a little controversy.
Because it feels so empty without me. Anyway, so the first... the first symbol of the Raelians was a big controversy. It was a swastika inside of a Star of David.
Make sense.
Right? It's not even like you're putting a swastika on a cross or the people that the Holocaust and the Nazis targeted.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
That's wild.
Rael apparently saw it on the hull of the Elohim spaceship
I'm sure he did.
He claims it represents the unity of infinity and eternity. They did change the symbol in 1992 to a daisy-shaped swirling galaxy, out of respect for the victims of the Holocaust.
It took them till the 90s?
Yes. The biggest controversy the group encountered, though, had to do with cloning. They developed an organization called Clonaid in 1997. They charged $200,000 for a human clone. I feel like that's cheap. I can never afford that. But I still feel like that's really cheap to clone a human. I don't know.
I doubt they were super successful.
Not if you ask them.
Okay. All right. Tell me more.
They claim to have successfully cloned a baby named Eve in 2002. According to their website, they will help you clone someone if you are sterile, part of the LGBTQIA community, a grieving parent, HIV positive, or if you just want to be cloned. Also, I put in the LGBTQIA. They have some outdated language on there. But they will clone you so you can raise a baby you, or if you lost a child, they'll clone that child. I am not a parent. I have older stepkids, but I myself have never had a baby, and I've never lost a baby. I cannot imagine if I had been in that situation cloning my deceased child.
No. I mean, I get grief. Grief can make you do some crazy things.
Yeah, but that is extreme.
Yeah.
There are several steps involved with getting a clone. There's a form you can complete online to start the process. Today, you can complete that form. The medical team will contact you, see if you're a good fit. They'll collect the donor cells, whether that be yours or someone else's.
So I can literally, like, grab some of your hairs, scrape your skin, and clone you. It's good to know.
I don't think anybody wants that. Once they have the cells, they optimize them for nuclear transfer. That's when they actually do the cloning. Then they get an egg from the female. So if it were me, they would get my egg, or they would use an egg donor and transfer the donor cells. After a few days, the embryo is implanted into the mother or a surrogate mother's womb. The mother carries for 9 months still before giving birth to a clone. Their website claims this process is a safe reproductive choice and that their success rate is similar to those of other assisted reproduction techniques. Clonaid claims to have cloned several babies over the years. Not just Eve, but baby Eve was such a big controversy that they stopped announcing when they cloned people. And the parents supposedly went underground and no one knows who baby Eve is. And most recently, I think this was from a couple years ago, I read an article that the president of Clonaid has contact occasionally through a third party with baby Eve and their family and says that baby Eve is thriving. She is doing well.
It just sounds like they're doing IVF.
Kind of, but using cells to recreate the same person.
Yeah, that's weird. And I don't know if that's actually legitimate, but somebody could still get pregnant, even if it's not going to be like the same person. Does that make sense what I'm trying to say? Like, it's essentially IVF, but they're saying that it's cloning.
They're claiming that their process will take you and replicate you. Like, that baby that you give birth to will be you.
That's weird.
Same genetic code, same genetic makeup. Whereas, like, your baby has half yours and half your husband's, but so it is like IVF. I think the
more
process
extreme.
is the same, but it's modifying the genetic code before
which
they
makes
implant.
it different. Okay.
Yeah. Obviously, there are ethical considerations here.
Yeah.
Between the birth defects associated with animal clothing, which are believed to be similar to if we actually cloned humans, and the treatment of the clones after they are born, human cloning has been condemned by the best researchers in the world. I mean, if we can clone anyone, we can lose individuality, and that clone could be treated horribly by their creators. Like, could you imagine, in my brain, I am seeing this sick person cloning people just for working them as slaves or torturing them, whatever they want, their wildest fantasies, their sick fantasies, and then and then it comes in their clone. Are we considering them real humans? I would say yes, but there's an ethical consideration.
Right. And if that's the process they go through, I would be inclined to agree.
It's not like they're made inside of a computer and printed off, like something crazy like that. But
or like the robots and stuff like that. They're wild.
Yes. So there's a lot of really controversial things that the Raelians are up to, but I would say that is the most controversial.
Yeah.
But the Raelian movement is still very alive and very active. Rael himself lives in Japan today. While he
I
leads
want
the
to go to
group.
Japan. Not to see Rael, but just to go to Japan.
Yeah, that would be nice. He still leads the group, but it is based out of Quebec, Canada. Rael believes that the Elohim will return to Earth in 2035.
Oh, we're getting close.
11 years. Do you think they'll have their embassy ready by then?
Maybe.
I don't know.
They've got to convince somebody to let them build it, though.
What about in your backyard?
I don't have 4 additional acres. My bad.
I have 0 acres, so tell us what you guys think. Do you think that they're onto something with these Elohim people? Or
do you practice realism? I want to chat.
Yeah, I have questions. Lots of them.
No judgment, like legitimate. I just want to know the ins and outs. Like this is wild.
Yeah. Yeah. If you're watching us over on YouTube, drop an alien emoji in the comment section below. Make sure you like and subscribe. If you're listening to us over on Apple Podcasts or Spotify, make sure that you follow us and rate or review the episode.
Check us out on TikTok and Instagram. We post there pretty frequently at Spooky Sleuths Pod. And on that note, stay spooky, friends.